Welcome back to Remarkable. Well, okay, it's Friday, so have a cocktail, glass of wine, or maybe a Girl Scout cookie or two.
Two? That sounds horrible. No, I'm just kidding. No joke. I'm going to tell everybody right now, I ate an entire sleeve of Thin Mints last Friday.
Oh.
Like I started and I was like, this is over.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's
Anyway,
hard
but
to
you
stop.
have to. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Because we are here today with registered dietitian Lisa Gretzalanek with YourTastyLife.com because we're talking about moderation. You hear that all the time.
Now, what does that mean? You know,
I
that's the
don't-
question.
Exactly.
Like,
What
what
does
does
it
it mean? So let's try to break it down into simple terms of things that you equate to what this moderation is, okay? So let's start with sugar. We know sugar is the villain no matter what health authority or camp you're listening to. Everyone's all about sugar these days.
Right.
And the recommendations state no more than 9 teaspoons a day for men, which is the equivalent of having this container of Oreos. You have 9 teaspoons
That's
of
for
sugar.
a guy. Okay.
So you already had it. If you had that, like that's your moderation. There's no more sugar, there's no more treats that day, you're done. Women, 6 teaspoons a day is what's recommended, which is the equivalent of these 6 little small donuts, okay?
And this, as I said, is just enough to make me mad. I couldn't.
Right, so you have a can of soda, 10
Yeah.
teaspoons of sugar, you
Wow.
blew it there for men and
Wow.
women, and then the cupcakes over here have 9 teaspoons of sugar, these 2 little bitty cupcakes. So when you're talking moderation, let's break it down. We really want to know, like, how much sweets can I have?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really small portions.
But you're
Okay,
talking about, though, for your entire dietary
day.
consumption.
Yes. Right.
So if you have it in here, you can't have sugar in any other
You gotta
meal.
eat clean the rest of the
Good luck
day.
with
So
that.
your single ingredient foods, your meats, your veg, your fruit. Now sugar labels are changing next summer where they're gonna be listing the amount of added sugars in them. Right now we look at that sugar label, it includes naturally occurring sugars like fruit and milk.
Okay.
So starting next summer, you're gonna be able to really clearly see that added sugar and be like, wow, there's 20 grams of added sugar.
So is the six for women, is that added sugar?
Yes, added sugar.
Okay, just added sugar.
sugars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
added sugars
Okay,
for the
that
day.
would change some
That's
things.
good to
Added
know next
sugars.
summer.
Right,
Okay.
so-
Then we
moving on.
have salt, and salt, again, American Heart Association, Diabetes Association, all the groups agree we need to, as Americans, drop down our salt craving. However, what does that mean? What's the recommendation? So to kind of give you a bird's eye view, depending what organization you are, somewhere between 1,500 milligrams and 23. 1,500 milligrams a day is equivalent to 3/4 teaspoon of sugar, and 2,300 milligrams a day is a teaspoon of sugar, or excuse me, a teaspoon of salt. So 3/4 to a teaspoon of salt a day is what we're looking at. If you have a, processed foods is where the salt is, right? So anything canned tends to be having more sodium in it. So for example, this can of soup, 2,500 milligrams of sodium. So you have your day's allotment in this can of soup.
Wow.
Then when it comes to labels, this is where parents, we got to be smart because these companies do a great job of saying there's no artificial flavors.
No artificial
Right, but what they don't tell you is
No
it's
artificial
loaded with
colors.
sodium. So there's 1,500 milligrams in this can. So for, little Johnny or Susie, over time,
Right.
kids are having hypertension. That's never heard of.
Oh my gosh.
Package things like this, 750 milligrams per serving, and then also breads can have a good deal of sodium, so 500 milligrams in there. So again, if you're looking at your day, what does moderation mean? Clean, unprocessed foods, you're going to do really well with sodium. If you're doing a lot of these convenience and packaged things, you're going to be overdoing the sodium amount.
Sounds like you need to cook yourself.
Yep. Red meats, okay? So this is another area where we always hear about, not having red meat. What the latest science shows is the old adage of having red meat once a week. There's no scientific basis for that.
Okay.
And the latest U.S. dietary guidelines, in fact, did not have any verbiage in there saying reduce red meat consumption.
Oh, good.
They're encouraging the use of all types of proteins, plant-based proteins as well. But what I could tell you is really what's getting a ding is processed meats.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the science is showing is there's some clear evidence that processed meats, which are salami, hot dogs, bacon, sausages, these processed meats do have a higher risk for cancer. And what the American Cancer Institute says is avoid processed meats altogether. Red meat, they recommend no more than 18 ounces per week, which is actually a fair amount. If this is 3 ounces, that's 6 servings, small servings of beef a week. They would follow in those guidelines.
Yes.
Coffee, 3 to 4 cups a day is what the research shows is helpful.
All right.
And coffee
What
is
size cup?
Well, it's a cup,
right,
so
all right,
a
okay,
cup.
go on.
Now, the thing with coffee, we already talked about sugar, so we don't want to negate the benefits of coffee by dumping a lot of sugar in it. But coffee has polyphenols. They're very beneficial plant substances that have some heart healthy or cardiovascular benefits. So 3 to 4 cups a day, we don't have to feel guilty about. The science is supporting that.
That's
Parkinson's,
wonderful.
Alzheimer's, diabetes, good benefits.
Speaking of not feeling guilty.
Yeah, and then the alcohol is the last one, right? So what's moderation when it comes to drinking? Well, unfortunately for many of us in Wisconsin, we probably would want that level to be a little higher if we like our cocktails, but what the recommendations say is 1 drink a day for women is moderation, and 1 to 2 drinks per day is for men. And what is a drink? It's a 12 ounce of beer, 1.5 ounce of liquor, or 5 ounces of wine. So for us ladies that like to have a glass of wine at night, I just specifically pour it into that glass, because I will tell you my pour is heavier at home too.
Okay.
5 ounces. That is what 5 ounces looks like.
La,
And
la,
she
la,
could
la, la, la,
Nicole
la, la,
would not want to hear it, right?
That is good to
So
see.
she has her mommy time with her wine at night. Now she knows if she has a glass,
At least I know.
she's
At least you
okay,
know,
right?
right?
More. And why the recommendation, I should make a quick point on that, is there are benefits to small amounts of alcohol. There's some heart healthy benefits,
yeah.
believe it or not. A drink for women, a drink to 2 for men.
Okay, stop talking.
And no, above that, if you go above that, the benefits may not be there.
All right, you
okay?
can check all this information on our
Thank you so
website. We know we have to hear it, even if we don't want to. Lisa, thank you. We'll be back.